The first one is a retainer. Some people call it a spoon, as Kate just mentioned. Some people call it a tongue, which for obvious reasons I really hate, but it is a retainer. It's called a bearing retainer. They're very cheap. So this is the cheapest option that you will find. Gosh, from memory, at the last clinic I worked, I want to say that they were like $6.99 or something for a pack of 3. They're super crazy cheap. It's just a piece of plastic with string on both sides. They're very easy to take out and put in if you're comfortable getting down dirty with it. All that happens, do I have an image? Not just yet. Hold on. I do have an image a little bit further on. All that happens is you take this big tongue-looking thing in the middle, that goes inside her, and then these 2 pieces of string on either side, they wrap around her bum and you just tie it onto the wool. It's pretty flimsy. You do need to remove it during lambing. Sometimes they can lamb around it with difficulty. With a small lamb, they might be able to, but I would hate to rely on that, because the idea that we've put something into her to help and now she cannot get the lamb out is a pretty horrible one. So we do want to try and get them out if at all possible when she's lambing. And they're very easy to get out. You just cut the pieces of wool that it's tied to, right, and it slips back out. The biggest downfall with these is they're not super rigorous. The bearing can, without too much difficulty, pop around the side of it, the top or the bottom of it. And I would say the biggest downfall is that they are irritating. So we're actually placing something inside her with this. It's the only one. It's the only option where we're actually putting something inside her. As I just explained with John, with his good question, the more irritation to the inside of that vagina, to the vaginal lining, the harder she's going to strain. So we're putting this thing in her. It's going to feel like we've got our hand up her backside. She's going to keep straining. If you can get your vet to do an epidural, great. If you've got non-steroidals, they should always be given with this one, because it can make the straining a bit worse. This only works if it's very mild and you've only got a short time to see her through until the lambs arrive. Okay. Any questions on that one, on the retainer? No, okay.
Sorry, can I just ask a quick thing, Sarah? And that was when we had our first season and we had that spoon used. It was really difficult because she was straining so much, knowing whether she was actually going into labor or just straining against the spoon here. And, you know, you want to take it out if it's labor. But so it was quite hard to know what the straining was all about at that time. You know, was it really labor? Was it not labor? So yeah,
Right.
that was a bit confusing.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, I absolutely agree with you. And that's often a confusing thing. I mean, the way that we actually know if she's going into labor is the cervix softening. Excuse me, is the cervix softening, and does she have colostrum? That tends to happen about 10 days out for most ewes, but there's a bit of give and take there. Is she, you know, if you were to do an exam and put your hand in, if she's actually going into the labor to the point where she's straining to try and push that thing, which is just active labor, that's not even first stage labor, right? First stage labor, there's 3 stages. First stage labor is she's uncomfortable, she's moving around, she's got these little contractions on the inside. I say little contractions. Any woman that's been in labor is like, understatement. But she's got these little contractions on the inside. She's just feeling uncomfortable. She doesn't have the drive to push yet, though. Pushing comes, like really pushing, comes in second stage labor. At that point, if she's pushing because she's truly in second stage labor, that cervix should be open, open. And there should be little lambs there. And even if the cervix isn't open because for some reason she's experiencing ringworm, she's not dilating properly and she needs further help, you can usually get at least 1 or 2 fingers through and feel the little feet or a little nose. You can feel the lamb right on the other side. So ringworm, they do dilate, they just don't dilate enough. But you can feel that lamb is up in the birth canal. It's got its feet, it's got its nose, usually, if it's in the right position, and it's trying to come through. If none of that was happening, she's not in active labor. Do you remember, Kate, what the situation felt like with you?
As I say, I think this was my first year. This is our first season doing this, and I don't think I felt at all confident taking the spoon out every 5 minutes and checking whether she was her cervix was dilating or not. I mean, as I say, it was our first time ever with goats or any ruminants of any kind, and I think we just relied on our vets at that point to be sensible for us.
Yeah, she probably wasn't. Yeah. Remember, it's not an early stage labor. If she's straining like
Yeah,
that, it's
yeah.
because the lamb should be ready to come in.
I think now it's kind of obvious to us because
Yeah.
we've had so many breeding seasons. We would know whether she was in labor or not. But that first year, yeah, we had no idea. It was quite, the whole thing was quite nerve-wracking. So
Yeah, I bet. I bet. Yeah. Thank you. That's a really good question because that comes up heaps during spring. We're constantly asking questions, answering questions, sorry, on the phone to people who are going, the retainer's in and I think she's in labour. How do I know? Yeah. And it can be hard to explain over the phone. So thank you for pointing that one out.